Number 10. Dal. This monster appears in Mongolian myths. This monster won't kill you, but rather it will grant your every wish, with a small payment of your blood. It is not dangerous until you stop feeding it, so you need to feed it every day. It can grant your every wish. If you want to kill it, it's so easy. Just give your blood and command it to kill itself. If he gets blood, he will obey your every order and every wish. 9. Dragon. It means again walk. Dragon is an undead creature from Norse mythology, a substance of a human mythology. Dragon possess superhuman strength, can increase their size at will, and carry the unmistakable stench of decay. The appearance of a dragon was that of a dead body, swollen and blackened, generally hideous to look at. They are undead figures from Norse and Iceland mythology that appears to retain some semblance of intelligence. They exist either to guard their treasure, wreak havoc on living beings, or torment those who had wronged them in life. The dragon's ability to increase its size also increased its weight, and the body of a dragon was described as being extremely heavy, with an ugly look about him, swollen to the sixth size of an ox, and his body was so heavy that it could not be raised without levers. They are also noted for the ability to rise from the grave, as wisps of smoke and swim through the solid rock, which would be useful as means of exiting their graves. 8. Kappa. Kappa means river child. Kappa have been used to warn children of the danger lurking in rivers and lakes, as kappa have been often said to try to lure people into water and fool them. It has been suggested that the kappa legends are based on the Japanese giant salamander, or hanzaki, an aggressive salamander that grabs its prey with his powerful jaws. Other theories suggest they are based on sightseeing of Japanese otters, as seen from a distance. Others have been known to stand upwards. The kappa is typically depicted as roughly humanoid in form and size about a child. Its scaly reptile skin ranges in color green to yellow or blue. Kappa supposedly inhabits the ponds and rivers of Japan and have varied features to aid them in their environment, such as webbed hands and feet. They are sometimes said to smell like fish and they can swim like them. The expansion of Kappa no Kawa no Garaya conveys the idea to even express the make mistakes. Kappa are usually seen as troublemakers or tricksters figures. Their pranks range from relatively innocent, such as looking up women's kimonos, to malevolently, such as drowning people and animals, kidnapping children, and raping women. 7. The Mongolian Deathworm. The Mongolian Deathworm, or Olgahha, is a creature alleged to exist in the Gobi Desert, described as a bright red worm about a meter in length. It is generally considered a cryptid. Reports are disputed or unconfirmed. Various claims are made about the worm by natives of the Gobi. Some say it has the ability to spew forth an acid which on contact will turn anything it touches yellow and cold, and which would kill a man. Others say it can kill at a distance by means of electric. 6. Lycanthrope. Lycanthrope is the Greek mythological or folkloric human with the ability to shapeshift into a wolf or wolf-like creatures, either purposely or after being placed under a curse or afflicted with the serum. The werewolf is a widespread concept in European folklore, existing in many varieties which are related by common development of a Christian, of underlying European folklore, which developed during the medieval period. During the early periods, accusation of a lycanthrope were mixed with the accusation of a wolf riding or wolf charmer, the case of Peter Stamps. led to a significant peak in both interest in persecution of supposed werewolves, primarily in French-speaking and German-speaking Europe. The phenomenon persisted longest in Bavaria and Austria, with persecution of wolf charming recorded until well after 1650. The final cases taking place in the early 18th century in Catania and Spain. 5. Encantador. Encantador is a word in Brazilian that roughly translated as enchanted one. The term is used for creatures who come from an underwater realm called the Enchanted. In human form, they are pale-skinned and graceful, dressed usually in bright clothes in an old-fashioned style. Their transformation is never fully complete. However, an Encantador will always have a bald spot on the top of its head, where its dolphin blowhole remains. For this reason, the Encantador will always keep its head covered, usually with a broad-brimmed straw hat. The Encantador is better at assuming its dolphin form. True strange photos with flippers ending in human hands have been reported. There are three elements that best characterize Encantadors: superior musical ability, their seductiveness, and love of sex, often resulting in illegitimate children, and their attraction to parties. Four. Tuk-tuk. The tuk-tuk, also known as tik-tik, is a Japanese urban legend about a ghost of a young woman or schoolgirl who fell on a railway line and was cut in half. Now a vengeful spirit, she travels on either her hand or elbow, he dragging upper towards making a scratching or tuk-tuk sound. If she encounters anyone at night, the victim is not fast enough, she will slice them in half at the torso, mimicking her own disgrace. As a young schoolboy was walking home at night, he spotted a beautiful young girl standing by a window sill, resting on her elbows. They smiled at each other for a moment. The boy wondered what about the girl was doing in all-boys high school. But before he could wonder more about the girl, she jumped out the window and realized her lower half was missing. Frightened, he stood in the sidewalk, but before he could run, she cut the boys in half. 3. Tianak. Tianak is a vampire creature in Philippine mythology that imitates the form of a child. It usually takes the form of a newborn baby and cries like one in the jungle to attract unwary travelers. Once it is picked up by the victim, it reverts to its true form and attacks the victim. The Tianak is also in abducting children. While various legends have slightly different versions of the Tianak folklore, the stories all agree on its ability to mimic an infant. In one version, it retains the general shape of the baby, but then forms sharp claws and fangs to attack its victim. In another version from Pampanga, the Tianak are described as a small, nut-brown people who don't walk on the ground but rather float in the air. They have large noses, wide mouths, large fierce eyes, and Two. Wendigo. Wendigo is a half-beast creature appearing in the legends of Alacuan peoples along the Atlantic coast and Great Lakes region of both the United States and Canada. The creatures or spirit could either possess the characterism of a human or a monster that had physically transformed from a person. It is particularly associated with cannibalism. The Alacuans believed those who had indulged in eating human flesh were at particular risk. In legend appears to have reinforced with the taboo against the practice of cannibalism. It is often described in Alacuan mythology as a balance of nature. Wendigos were imbued of gluttony, greed, and excess, never satisfied after killing the consuming one person. They were constantly searching for new victims. In some traditions, humans who become overpowered by greed could turn into Wendigos. The Wendigo myth thus served as a Now, the moment that you all been waiting for. Number 1. Pontianak. The Pontianak is a vampire ghost in Malaya and Indonesian mythology. It is also known as a Mitanyak and Kuntanyak, sometimes shorter version to Kunti. The Pontianaks are said to be the spirits of a woman who died while pregnant. This is often confused with the relatives creature the Langsuri, which is the ghost of a woman who died while giving the birth. The word Pontianak is reportedly corrupted to Malaya, Permian Mati Brangnan, or woman who died in children. Another theory is that the word is a combination of Puyan, woman, Mati, die, Anak, child. The term Mataniak means death of a child. The city of Pontianak is Indonesian is named after this creature, which was claimed to have hundreds the first sultan who once settled there. Pontianaks are usually despised